Good evening, Bermuda. Yes, Jesus loves me. It's going to be a quite interesting conversation this evening because it is a Sunday night and Jesus does love us. And it's an interesting comment because it doesn't matter what you think, but Jesus does love each and every one of us. And what's amazing is that his love for us is not dependent upon our love for him. And so with a big smile on my face this evening, I'm happy to introduce that our guest is going to be Ms. Allisson D. Russell, and as I said in the promotion, her big sister, I'm not sure how much bigger she is in terms of age, but it's Reverend Dr. Maria A. Seaman. And again, we have a very interesting show. Before I start, I want to say a special shout out to Ms. Thompson from down in St. George's. She is one of those persons who is, I believe, an icon in the community. She has her children, Perry and Andre Bassett, or Perry and Andre Thompson, sorry, but it's just, I was in St. George's the other day, that's where I grew up, by the way. And I just went to the grocery store, just walking around doing that thing. Yes, A. St. George's man on compliment. Yes, yes, yes. And so, and Sinclair, the captain, is. But no, I saw it. I want to say good evening to her. And as we were coming on air, we were talking about how the show does go. Every week, we've been on air for more than 3 years now, and literally every week, at least one person will say to me, "Oh, Anthony, I watch your show, I listen to your show." I remain a bit amazed again because it's a Sunday evening and I wonder what are people doing while listening. And sometimes it's taxi drivers for sure, with the radio on. Parents, especially mothers, are taking the Sunday evening to prepare for the rest of the week. And as we talk about cost of living, one of those things is to take time to prepare your food for the week. Because, and I have a wife, and the idea is if you take time to cook the food on a Sunday evening or whenever else you do it, then during the week you're less likely to buy things like lunch and breakfast, and also it helps you to plan. And so no, not everybody's going to be as organized, and no, you don't always want to cook everything on Sunday. You don't be in the kitchen all night on Sunday, but that's what people do. And others time they'll be there ironing clothes, for example, and doing things. And then there's one person, there's more than one person actually, who is overseas, and what they do is actually make time by having their what I call tea and crumpets. And they sit down, them and the husband, and they just listen in, and they send in comments and things like that. And so, again, I continue to be blessed to be able to come on the areas. And last week, someone called in, and they said that they are actually bedridden, and so this ends up being their communication for the evening. And so I also want to say a shout out to Brother Glenn and Sister Glenn, who are responsible for the inter-island communication of families, radio stations. They're both off island, but doing well. And I go back to because when this started, literally, my mother stayed of Somerset. I was driving him on a Sunday evening, and it came to me that you should have a show that talks about financial literacy. And I came down, that was on a Sunday. I called Brother Glenn, spoke to him that week, and by the following Sunday, the show was on air. Full support. He's the one that talked about, yes, Anthony, it makes sense to do on a Sunday evening. I was a bit skeptical, but he said, yes, go ahead and do it. And so since that time, we've been doing it. And what we do is we have different shows with different guests, of course, that talk about aspects of living in Bermuda from a financial point of view. And the subject matter is normally going to be something that I think of myself, but more likely what people have said, I want to know about X, Y, Z. And so for tonight, really, with Ms. Russell, as I've known her for quite a while, and she always has these very pertinent comments. And I was aware of your mother's situation and what you're doing in that regard, and you generally in terms of how you go about different things. And so those who know you will know that you're also very, very outspoken. You have a point of view that you are not at all afraid to share. And looking at your big sister, there is just no question in terms of her comfort in sharing whatever it is that she may think and have a support for sharing that. And so again, to both of you, thank you. As I said, let's start by each of you introducing yourselves in the way that you would want to do so, and then we can go from there.
Sure, so I'll go first. So I'm the youngest of the little Russell family, Raymond Russell Sr. and the late Ms. Dianne Russell. Today is actually 1 month.
Whoa. Okay.
So I'm Allison. I am an accounting manager for Skyport. Please don't call me about that. And I have a passion when it comes to family and doing things the right way and trying to continue the legacy that our father has passed on to us. And for him, it was from his parents. So, you know, we are 4 generations. Yeah, 4 generations. Mm-hmm. And we just know that family, if you don't do it with family, you're going to struggle. You're always going to struggle. So Bermuda, we need to get back to family. And what a perfect week to talk about family, because it's cup match. And it's more about, you know, there's much further than the game itself.
Mhm.
This all started as, friendly societies and families, picnics and going to the game. So we need to get back to that aspect and ensure that our children understand our history and understand their own history and how to make their lives better without, say, so much dependency, right? So that's me, that's Allisson.
And real quick, because it's interesting, right, in that it's relative, but you are a young person, yet an older person, right?
Yes.
And so my question is, where did that come from? Because right now, as you say, many of us don't have that focus on family.
Our mom and our dad too, but our mom always had her. She always had us. Wherever she went, she took us.
Okay.
And we always wanted to be with her. Our dad was a hotel man, so we didn't see him as much because he was working.
Yes.
He was working a lot. So we spent a lot of time with our mom, but when we were all together, we were together. And then, of course, we spent a lot of time with our family in Somerset.
Skip that. I'll edit that out.
So we spent a lot of time in Somerset with our family. We made time for family. And so my mom made time for us. I make time for my children. I make time for my grandchildren. So you'll hear even this last 6 years was so hard for me because I couldn't spend as much time with my grandchildren because my focus was my mom.
Okay.
But our parents instilled in us family. You've got to stick together.
Okay. And so you grew up in Somerset?
No,
Your mom was from Somerset?
No, my mom's from Somerset.
Right.
Dad's from Point.
Yes.
Everybody, all those Key West traders guys came from North Shore.
Yes.
So our dad is a Russell,
Yes.
Derlins, so that's all North Shore. So he allegedly walked to Somerset. That's how much he wanted to marry this beautiful girl from Somerset.
Listen, this is and that's a fun thing, right? Because back in the day, as they say, people, but paddle bikes also.
He said
So,
he walked.
well, I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm saying, but back in the day, it was paddle bikes.
But if you know my daddy, up until his sickness too, he walked everywhere.
Yes.
Right,
Got
so
it.
he walked.
All right.
I'm gonna take it, Mr. Handsome walked.
Mr. Handsome. And okay, Reverend Seaman, Reverend Dr. Seaman.
All right. I'm Reverend Dr. Maria Seaman, pastor of Shekinah Worship Center. I am the eldest of the children of Raymond and Dianne Russell. And as my sister has spoken, the key really is family, because it was demonstrated in our eyes, our sight in particular. Mom, very protective of us, and always present, always particular about what she did with us, and she was a wonderful role model, and so there's no excuse, and that's what's led us at this time in particular to also desire in a greater way, because we've always desired it, but now at a greater extent, that our children, grandchildren would model that. It's legacy. Everybody mentions legacy. When I think of legacy, I think of a relay team and running a leg of the race. And when we have been given the baton, which clearly Allisson and I, especially as the girls, of our mom, we have been given now that baton, and it's how do we carry forth what mom showed us. And the only way that you can truly say that's my legacy and it really be a legacy is that you desire to see it in those who are under your remit. And so it's a passion. It can be problematic given the time and the era in which we live, but it has to be one's passion, that your family is all you have at the end of the day. I'm thinking of really quick, when you put the obituary information in the newspaper, that's legacy. All the other people that are not family, they don't get to be in that newspaper sharing moment. And so, in other words, even they tell us, this is who you are. And so I believe it's time for Bermuda to reassess, who are we? What do we want to see? What are we seeing? And what do we desire to see? And that may involve some type of change. And I think we'll be talking about some things tonight concerning that.
All right. And I'm smiling. So let me say this also for you, Reverend Seaman, in terms of the. Sometimes I use the wrong words, but it's the concept I'm trying to get at, right? It's you are multidimensional, but people think of you sometimes as being one-dimensional, which is this hard driving pastor person, right? And so give us a quick insight, if you will, of the broader person that you are.
Sure, and I appreciate that because my sister is here to validate.
Yes.
I'm actually the shyest.
Well, that's not true.
See
That
that
can't
right
be true.
there?
I would be the one that I'm gonna get it done. Just catch yourself. I'll deal with it. So we actually switch roles in that aspect.
Well,
Like, okay, I'll take you to August the 7th, 2019. Mom's sick.
Mhm.
It's 3:00 in the morning. I'm calling my sister. We have to go hospital. I'm keeping it together, right?
wow.
I'm doing everything, blah, 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 blah. We get to the hospital, we're dealing with doctors that doubt the power of God,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm like, they're all pretty much in a wreck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, to the doctor, you do what you got to do, and I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going, because this is the statement. Well, we don't know if you can afford it, so your mom's had a good life. And I'm like, you don't know me. So I say, you deal with Boston, I'll deal with our insurance. I don't have to tell you, she didn't know my mom's situation, so how can you say anything like that to her? I get that an aneurysm is very dire. I get that. But you don't know the power of my God, even clearly.
Yes.
So I was the one that was like, okay, everybody calm down. I'm going to make some calls. Said to the doctor, you get in touch with Boston. We're going to make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
I had the air ambulance before they had the okay from Boston. Then you can't beat God. That's what I tell people. I did what I had to do, and I had to wait on them.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. I would just say, wow.
Yeah. I tell people that story. I will never. I'm glad I can't remember the doctor's name.
Right. But I mean, the wow in terms of, as I said, obviously I didn't know that,
Yeah,
right?
that's
But
all
in terms of Reverend Seaman is the person you see
Yeah.
on there, you're the voice
Yeah.
in many arenas, and to hear you, and obviously for those that are watching on Facebook, you can see the physical reaction, right? And it's like, wow. But to say that you're shy, okay, well, Bermuda, guess what? She is shy. And her sister, and you are the younger sister, right?
I'm the youngest, yeah.
And so the four of you, okay?
4. We have an elder sister who passed.
Gotcha.
That was like 30, she's 34. So it'd be like 35 years ago.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. I was having my second daughter when she passed.
So there were 3 children altogether?
There were 4. There were 4 of us.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. And so again, and by the way, the show this evening was not at any way intended to be about your mother. That's for sure.
Right. That's
But
fine, but it has to
but
be
no, but
like
it
that
is
to
because-
help people.
right, it's interesting though
Understand.
that this is where we are
Yeah.
in terms of, and we'll get there because that's going to be very interesting and constructive. And so
Yeah.
I'm smiling again, right? Because one of my comments is that you, Reverend Seaman, you have an image, right? And even just now, I asked you about the multidimensional you. You said maybe 3 or 4 words, and Allisson actually answered the rest of it. And like
We know.
wow.
Take tea.
That's amazing though, because that's definitely not at all what I expected,
Mm.
and I'm sure for Bermuda. So great.
See, what a lot of folks will understand perhaps tonight at a deeper level
Mhm.
is that when the Holy Spirit comes upon me and I'm passionate about God's Word,
Mhm.
that's where I find my strength and whatnot. Other than that, I don't bother anyone. So most people who say I'm passionate is because I'm talking on a point, either usually a biblical issue.
Yes.
And with that, I stand flat-footed.
Mhm.
But I literally have to be empowered by God's Spirit to do so.
Okay.
Otherwise than that, I really prefer to be on my own at my computer, not talking to anyone.
So there is a shy, almost introverted Reverend Dr. Seaman.
That's who I am.
Okay.
She took control and I cried.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
As a matter of fact, to be truthful 100%, I had an asthmatic attack.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
because my mom,
Yes.
and I immediately, Allisson has to step up and have more of the forthwith of
Uh-huh.
that moment. So, yeah, we're
Okay.
different and we work together well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And because you mentioned it, right? It's we're going to go back to it, but for right now, can you just give us a synopsis almost about your mother within reason? Because I didn't know about this stuff, but because I want to be constructive, but have people understand how the healthcare system actually works.
Yes. So mom had the aneurysm. Fortunately, she was wise, and she worked at Butterfield Bank. She kept her insurance.
Yes.
So she still had the F&E, right? So all of that was fine. And the air ambulance arrived the next day, flew out to Boston. We were out there for 3 months. 3 months.
Okay.
We watched that blood in her hair go from bright red back to white.
Okay.
In SICU. It was, I cannot say enough how fantastic those Leahy doctors were, Dr. Graham and the other one. I will never forget his name.
Sure.
He is a good looking guy too, so it's easy to remember his name.
Sorry.
But yeah, so we were out there for 3 months. Mom had rehab, and she came back 3 months exactly, November 7th, just after Dad's birthday. And what a journey. But the family did it. So like, even I'm telling you, I was looking for this book, I found it, right? So this is how organized we are, right? So I talked to a colleague, and she's like, Allisson, make sure you write down everything. So everybody that took a turn going up. So we had a schedule. Get on the flight, go to Boston, keep your receipts, hand them in to me. I hand them in to BF&M, and this went on for 3 months. And everybody had to write down everything that happened every day.
Oh, and I was going to ask about that, because so let me back off.
Sure.
And get my own thing there, because one thing that we do privately is we manage right now. We are the ones that, in my private life, we manage all the medical flights. And tonight, by the way, there's one coming in at 8 o'clock. But my colleague is going to be doing that. And so another one went out this afternoon around about, time was maybe 4 or so. And so we get a chance to actually speak to not almost, but all the person that go overseas. And I say sometimes people criticize me in that Bermuda does not have a perfect healthcare system, but trust me, as you would say, trust and believe, in terms of if something happens to you right now, you'll be stabilized at the hospital, and definitely within 5 hours, if you need it, you'll be overseas in one of the best healthcare systems in the world.
Absolutely.
And so, again, it's not as if every single thing is perfect, but when it comes down to it, those things do kick in. There's a team of medical social workers in the hospital that also assist. But I'm smiling because what you just said, in that your mother was overseas for 3 months. And there needed to be somebody there, and not one person, but you were able to have a schedule.
Oh yeah, real schedule.
And so, talk a little bit about how it works, because part of the conversation, by the way, is that I want people to use tonight as not a preparation, but almost as an information session, so they know what may occur in the instance that takes place.
So, Mom, we put Dad on the air ambulance. I don't like small flights like that, right? So, my daddy, that's fine, that's his wife. He was dead anyway.
And by the way, quick, people don't understand, but the smaller planes are actually better in terms of if there's an instance. First of all, they go fast, but if there's an instance of needing to land, they can land at multiple sites as opposed to a commercial aircraft, a full-size commercial aircraft. So
that's his wife, so that's fine. We're in a debate about that. It's like, fine, pack the bag, there goes. And we have a family meeting, and we're like, okay, everybody, any vacation you got? If you can work remote. I don't know if I worked remote that first time. I just went back and forth. And I did. Everybody who was able to had to go. And because of her insurance, they didn't have to worry about the plane tickets we did through the family. We really worked this out. But anything you spent, you didn't have to worry about food. You didn't have to worry about hotel. You just needed to be there. So we did a schedule, and then
you and I went the next day.
We went we flew out the next day. We were on the next flight out. So we were there at the beginning. How long were we? I can't remember how long we were there. But we were there at the beginning for a good bit. And they and the family started overtaking, my daughter, my niece, my brother, and we would rotate. So whoever could went. And like I said, the book was there, kept your receipts, and I submitted everything to BF&M. It probably, if you gave it to me one day, I had to BF&M the next day. I need my money back.
So part of it was being organized to ensure that you get the amount reimbursed.
Extremely organized.
So let me interject here.
Sure.
That at this point, I was glad that my mom and dad had another child outside of myself and my brother.
Okay.
Because Allisson is excellent when it comes to financial matters and keeping things in order. I'm not that person, so. But I tell you what, I like to share when we went to the hospital. Do you remember that, Al? You're walking down the hall the first time, and we're way down the hall, right? Not there. I'm seeing it. I'm like, lady, I'm way down the hall.
Yeah.
We saw somebody going across the way, and we both said at the same time, "Mom," and it was Mom.
And it was her.
In the
So
ground.
yeah, they were taking her back
Taking her
to
sick.
something to do with the
Gotcha.
surgery. But instinctively, we knew that was our mom from a way distance.
Gotcha.
You know, the emotional turmoil of it is amazing. So that's why family is so important. Relationship,
Yeah.
where one feels weak, the other lifts them up, and then you're communicating. Shout out to Shekinah Worship Center as a pastor. I ironically had already plugged in different preachers, and I was able to do that, and also have services via Zoom from overseas too. So it's here's the thing: they looked after us when we don't know whatever from the time we're born, and so therefore we have this now situation. We have to turn it around and make sure, to the best of our ability, that we take care of them. In that case, it was Mom. Yeah.
Okay. So what I want to do to put everything in context again is we're going to come back to that in more detail, and obviously understanding the emotions of that. Let's go back a little bit, the other side, I suppose, in terms of, because part of the communication was that there are 4 generations.
Yes.
And when they did that, is in the context of there is mom and dad,
Yes.
or whoever your family would be, granny, for example. Then it's us as the adults, then it's the children, and then it's the grandchildren. So that's correct in your situation,
Yes.
right? Right.
Yeah.
And so, talk a little bit about that in terms of what's life like in Bermuda for you as mommy.
It's busy. I am the sandwich. I was the sandwich first because Pastor didn't have her littlest one yet. So I had maybe 4 of them at that point.
I mean,
Karis,
grandchildren.
At that point, I think Karis was the youngest because
Oh, and my mom. Yeah.
Suri wasn't born yet. So there were 4 of them. Pretty sure it was 4. Anyway, it was busy because I'm trying to, everybody lives on your property. We have a homestead. Thank God for legacy.
Okay.
My
Okay.
dad. Hey, that's a whole nother story. How to mercy Bermuda's. If we don't resolve, I'm gonna ditch to the
That's
side.
all right.
We need to resolve how families resolve properties, right?
Okay. Why?
Because what I went through to buy my homestead, people shouldn't have to go through, right? You shouldn't have to feel like that with your family. It should be, okay, you got a house off your property, you got money before, let's help somebody else. We need to be helping each other instead of, oh no, I want that amount of money and you're going to pay me that amount of money.
Okay.
I went through it for 3 years.
Okay.
Lawyers, but I was determined that I would not lose the legacy that Araminta was given by Sir Top. What was his name? Sir Henry Top, or whatever his name was. She was his maid. He gave her that property, and there was no way I was going to let that legacy go down the tubes.
Okay.
Right? So, of course, we really need to understand that we break some cycles in the generations. So I've got these children, my parents live with me. And one of my daughters, and everybody else is in apartments. So, we're close, right? So you're trying to balance everything. One child's got football, that, and the parents do have to do things as well. So it's like you're being pulled in all these directions. And of course, people kept saying, and I never claimed it, the caregiver gets sick. I said, well, I'm his caregiver, right? Because I know where my strength comes from. So, you always have to keep focused on God's got you, no matter how bad it gets, no matter how tired you get, that God's going to see you through this. Because obviously He gives these battles to you because He knows you can handle it, and you're going to be able to help somebody else through something like this, right? So that's how it works, being a sandwich.
And so, how? My question is this: how do you make that more than just words? God's got you. How is that more than words? Because everybody says it.
I lived it because I didn't go work and complain. And when I was told no for some things, I said, all right, well, I'll call my siblings. You're going to have to do a little more.
Okay.
Right? I took it and I was like, okay, God, clearly you're teaching me some lessons here. All right, how do I deal with, okay, I need to put some more time in with Mom. How do I figure this out? Because the cost factor is humongous with caregivers.
Okay.
So we needed the family to play their part. We needed them to do. They spoke. If anybody had seen my mom's celebration of life service, or
Mhm.
and what they spoke, they had to live it, because if not, they wouldn't have spoken, or we wouldn't have allowed it, right? Because
Okay.
we're not going to allow you to say something that isn't true. So, they had to play their roles. We needed everybody to pull their weight, because their nana had gave so much to them, their great nana had given so much to them. How could you say no? So for us, that's why family was key, because if not, I guess I would have had to take out a bank loan. There is no way you can pay a caregiver in Bermuda if you're not saving. And fortunately, again, being an account manager,
Mhm.
you know me, I'm down to the daddy.
Gotcha.
I'm like, okay, how many hours can we do?
Uh-huh.
We need, BF&M has a benefit. People that have insurance, they know this.
Mm-hmm.
If you manage it right, it'll get you maybe to September. And then after September, you're on your own. So
And what does that mean?
it means you're going to run out of money, right, from the benefit. So at September, you need to have banked
Mhm.
at least 20 grand from your parents. So for me, for instance, all right, mom's pensions,
Oh, okay.
right?
Okay.
So you need to you need to understand money and
Yeah.
the value of money when you are together with caregiver, because
Okay.
it's not cheap,
Mhm.
and many people, they know they have a benefit,
Mhm.
but they don't realize that you could spend $6,000-7,000 in 1 month easy
Mhm.
on caregiving.
Okay.
And then what you gonna do for the rest of the year, right? So you have to have family pulling their weight. Fortunately, I was the main caregiver.
Mhm.
So
You mean physically actually doing it? Wow.
yeah, so like nights after 8 o'clock is me
Mhm.
to the next morning,
Okay.
right? Fortunately, my mom was a wonderful sleeper.
Mhm.
My dad, not so much.
Mhm.
But so it made it sort of easy.
Mhm.
And in all honesty, we didn't even know our dad was sick till we went through this.
Okay.
So we ended up having 2 parents with 2 similar disease. I can't remember, it's dementia, umbrella. I don't know how it is. Yes.
Yes.
My dad was diagnosed, and for 1 year, I never slept past 2 a.m.
I am flabbergasted. I didn't know this.
Yeah,
And just
a
to
lot of
listen
people
to
don't
listen
know.
audience, by the way, our guest this evening is, it keeps, I'm saying this because you told me to say it, right? Which is Allisson D. Russell.
No, because my sister teases me about the
Diane.
Okay, fine. Okay, no problem. And Dr. Maria Seaman. And we're told the reason why they're on tonight is to give what I want to call a real life commentary in terms of living in Bermuda. And as you can hear so far, it's been constructive, and that's what's expected. And I said it earlier, and for those that were listening earlier, part of the surprise is we live together in Bermuda, and we think we know people, and quite really surprised that you, Allisson, take the lead over your sister, who we think is the local person. And you explain why, and we understand all the concepts. So that's what's happening tonight. We will take some calls in a minute. There's some questions coming in on WhatsApp, but I want to let the audience know that that's who is talking tonight, because they may not catch your voices.
Yes.
But, and I'll say quick also, in terms of property, and I'll give his name, which is Mr. Hudson. He said a long time ago that even when it comes to family disputes and divorce and whatever, we have to have a better understanding of how properties should not be part of that dispute, because by doing so, we actually dilute, if not completely desecrate the potential legacy, which is necessary.
So you want
So
to
to get-
fix it?
Yeah.
I put it in a trust. No fighting, no more.
Well, it still can be fights, but yeah,
Still
at least-
can
at
be
least-
fights,
yeah,
but the
yeah.
fight hit the trustees got all the power.
Gotcha.
So you need to trust the trustee,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So that nobody ain't getting nothing that they don't deserve.
Gotcha.
Because and we have meetings.
Mhm.
This family don't pay. We have meetings. We have conversations. Everybody contributes to land tax, the insurance, the maintenance of the
Mhm.
house. You're not just gonna get handed something on a silver spoon. You have to earn stuff.
Important.
We have given children far too much,
Mhm.
and they expect, right? You want them to have better than you did,
Yes.
but they should not. They should have to work for something. They should have to earn something. Because what happens if you're not there?
Mhm.
Are they gonna just squander it? And then you're gonna be like, because what I've heard, from people recently, I've asked some young people, say, again, oh no, I'm selling it. I don't want that drama.
Gotcha.
And these are people that don't even have siblings,
Yes.
but they don't understand the legacy. The parents worked hard,
Mhm.
the grandparents worked hard, and they just want cash.
Wow.
The love of money. You got to know how to use money properly.
Yes.
Right? Because the love of money can destroy a family.
But what do your grandchildren call you?
Nana Al because my mama was Nana Russell.
Okay, so Nana Al. Okay.
Nana Al.
Okay, so Nana Al, well done. And so now we're going to bounce back and forth a bit. And I'll say this, I said it many times also, in terms of right now with children, all of us, the family piece, the structured part of family, is absent, and therefore they ride like complete lunatics. I'm very surprised, which happened, I saw it was last week, I think it was. I was driving. I was very surprised how many people, number one, they're still speeding, overtaken recklessly. Sometimes you have mostly males with a female on the back of the bike. And then yesterday I was riding, and there was a girl who was riding a 50cc, which is not very fast. Right. And what's amazing though is that as she was overtaken, she overtakes and cut right in front of me. And overtook a car in the corner and had to cut across. And so we were braking to ensure that she doesn't get hurt, because if either of us had continued, she would have struck her easily.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm saying that to say that it's not just young people, for sure, but we need to be more mindful. And I think part of it is that we don't recognize who we are, and so therefore we appear to do these things which are very dangerous unnecessarily.
Exactly.
Yes, if we have a generation who don't understand the true fight and labor, the tenacity of those that went before them, they don't value their lives to be the ones to inherit that and carry it forward. And so we have a generation that is very, microwave, overturned.
Yeah.
It's about right now. No, it's not. It's about the future.
Okay.
All right? We old teens, I had one incident where I was speeding, I confess. I was speeding. 1987.
As a teenager,
right?
you mean?
Yeah,
No,
that's
87?
beyond. 1987, I can remember.
Right.
I'm on Harbor Red. I'm a young teacher, right? I do like speed, I confess. And I said, I'm going to beat my students to time.
Oh, really?
I did. And I'm getting Harbor Red. Of course, I'm beating them to time. Now, I overtake on Harbor Red, just as you're coming to, what's that hill that goes down? Put it in there.
Strawberry.
Strawberry Hill, yes.
Okay, that hill. But when I go around the corner, literally right there, I could have reached out and touched both of the truck drivers.
Yes.
Now, after that, God spared my life. He clearly spoke to me. He said, you have a purpose and a destiny. I have a future for you. And I knew what he was saying just in that sentence. You risked the beautiful future I have for you to do this. From that day, never done it again. So it's a matter of believing that your worth is more than just what it is right now. No. There's a nation that needs you. There's a generation that needs you. And therefore, you ride to protect that. You see yourself as a valuable commodity. Now, mix in the fact that here we are, 40 years later, the roads are terrible, and the rest of it. Who is trying to risk their lives? Well, those that don't feel that they're valuable enough. Goes back to family. What are families teaching their children? What are we truly imputing upon the children? Al mentioned the 4 generations. We could take it one more up to grandma. We saw how our mother cared for our grandmother. And we said, now that our mother needs help with what she did for our grandmother, she's going to get at least 3 to 7 times more than that, because she deserves it because of what she did for her mother. And so, again, that's legacy of care.
So the children were able to see what your mother did for your great.
Yes. Jukes.
Okay.
Jukes. They actually, one of them may have said it at the celebration of life, because so my mom had to. Do you remember those funny looking little Subaru?
Yeah.
First one.
The
funny looking ones, I call it. So she had a red one. She got her license, and my grandma, had unfortunately fouled in the kitchen, and back then there's ill floors. She broke her hip, and back then it was a little different. Occurring at home might have been a lot more complicated. So we ended up, grandma was at Packwood. My mom religiously went up there 5 days a week, did my grandma's laundry. So she would take the children on Sundays. You keep still. Behave.
So you learned.
Soft. Yes, they knew this.
That is you.
No, these were mine, but ours when they were little.
Yeah.
Right.
So they saw it. So they knew.
So when your children were younger, they went with your mother. They're great.
The great
Okay.
grandma.
Gotcha.
And this they saw that. So they saw how our mom cared for her mom. So they have no excuse. Our children are without excuse when it comes to caring.
Mhm.
So
Right?
part of it is demonstrating before
Yeah.
children, letting them see.
Definitely.
You have
Okay.
to. I mean, even my little ones, we have tons of pictures. I had to buy a little stool
Mhm.
so that Sorry could help change my mom. Like she
Wow.
had to be a part of it. She was
Okay.
like 4. She's only 6 now. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I had to do to make everybody feel a part of the journey.
And,
Okay.
and it removed that fear
Mm-hmm.
of sickness and illness.
Yes. They
Yeah.
had no fear. No fear.
Okay.
No.
They saw her at the best and at the worst. Even Cam, he couldn't help with the change, so he was like her little bodyguard. He would sit in there if she was having one of those days. She never complained. Oh my goodness! Like I tell people, if I ever got sick, could I be like my mom? She never complained.
Okay.
She didn't. No. But everybody played a role. Everybody, the
Okay.
whole entire family had a part to play in caring.
And so,
And let me add there, because I was married young at 20, I hadn't been in the homestead.
Mhm.
So my whole routine changed. I was going to town first thing in the morning. Not used to doing that.
Mhm.
But again, we did what we had to do and what we could do. We all wish we could have even done more. Just so worth it to know that we had honored our
Mhm.
father and mother.
Biblical.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness, wonderful.
and Jessica, I think you mentioned, so you, both parents had dementia? Or
Yeah,
had-
she.
yeah, right.
Dad's one. We wasn't sure, but during the I'm gonna say it pandemic.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, I'm there. We were in Boston at one point, and my dad thought he was gonna catch the bus,
Mhm.
and I wasn't there. I had to get on the plane the next day, go get him, and bring him back.
Well,
Yeah, it was, and then we went through, remember when we were on lockdown,
Mhm.
the police said, I remember they said, if you're out past midnight, we're locking you up. So why are you calling me at 2 o'clock every morning, bringing my daddy back? You said you was locking him up.
Mhm.
Lock 'em up.
And he said, lock him up. And I said, that's right. He said, lock him up. And I said, that's right, lock him up. It was funny, but it wasn't, because you have to laugh.
Right.
If you don't laugh, you will cry. You better find the funny in
Mhm.
something while you're still loving them, because it is no joke to have 2 sick parents, right?
And so that's what I didn't, obviously, to the listeners,
Yeah,
I didn't know
that's
anything,
fine.
right? But
Yeah,
so
okay.
give us a little sense of what it's like to have one, if not, more than one person on the dementia spectrum. What is it in a real way? I know how it's diagnosed,
real
but
way,
yeah, in a
it was-
practical way.
It was, I tried to accept it, and I would, maybe at night, I would, like, not often, but you have to have a breakdown moment so you can get it out of your system. I bowled. I'm like, what? 2
Mhm.
parents?
Gotcha.
How do we get through this? And you really have to, I tell people, if you don't understand the power of God, you never will. I had to say, Lord, please handle this.
Mhm.
I don't know how you're going to handle it, but handle it, because I need to put my main focus on mom.
Mhm.
Now, you don't want your parents to be sick, right?
Of course, yeah.
You don't.
Yes.
But you also have to understand your limitations. And then you keep going.
Mhm.
You just keep going, and you keep trusting God. And then things happened, and Dad's life changed a bit, and we couldn't care for him. We
Okay.
didn't have a choice. Actually, tell us he is dead too. I was like, remember that?
Mm.
They're like, get down here right now. Your dad's about to pass away. And we're like, oh, okay. So we're rushing down there to him. And I'm convinced that when he had that triple bypass 30 plus years ago,
Uh-huh.
they gave him a super heart. And then they broke him of it, because he bounced back like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, but he couldn't function the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I had to go through the social worker phase with him. And they tell me, you need a 24-hour caregiver. I'm like, already got my mama.
Gotcha.
So they wouldn't release him without one. So fortunately, and he's fine, because he don't know where he is. He had to be in extended care,
Okay.
because he can't even walk. So people were like, where's your dad?
Exactly.
I'm like, he couldn't even walk.
Okay.
Yeah, things have happened,
Mhm.
and but he's fine. He's Mr. Handsome. If you go to see him,
Mhm.
he will tell you he's handsome, and he's fine.
Okay.
Just take him a bounty
Uh-huh.
or a snack.
Right.
You go in there for snack. And we do right by him as well. So while we're taking care of mom, we're going on the hospital, we're making sure I take him to Sunday dinner religiously. Every week I'm let someone off the island, and then I'll ask Pastor, make sure Dad gets his dinner. Every week.
And you've both said and emphasized quite a bit in terms of family. what advice do you give to someone that does not have family, either numerically
Yeah.
or in a real way?
I do know some people that are only children,
Mhm.
and their parents are, older and sickly and all. And I just tell them, if you know God, you're gonna have to lean on God
Mhm.
because you're doing it by yourself. And I just tell them, you have to be strong, and you still got to take care of yourself. So you have to have those rest moments.
Mhm.
And for me, rest might have been traveling. Then we set up for them, for the ones I do know, they will have like an aunt or somebody they could bring in. Or unfortunately, they're gonna have to get that person to come in and stay there where they have a 24-hour service, and that can be rather costly. So it's tough, and that's why you need your family, your extended family, church family. Oh, our church family was fantastic. I will start there. Shout out to Chief. I'll be like, Aunt Esther, I need somebody to sit with Mom. Can you do the first 3 hours for me? She'll be like, oh, no problem. So having a church family, that's unity, right? That's what we want. We want unity, right? So if you have a church family, you should be able to go to them. And our mom was a very private person, so we had to be careful of the circle.
Yes.
Right? So we kept it small, but we knew who we could trust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So church family, whatever we needed, there was always somebody to support us. So if you don't have siblings, surely, everybody's got that somebody they should be able to come to.
Yes.
Now, I mean, that's in a perfect world, and I know there are people that did.
Correct.
Right? So I pray for you. Find Jesus. That might help. You never need to provide.
And so, a while back, I did some work in terms of a caregiver, and you keep mentioning this. So my question is, you said travel, but in a practical way, what did you do to be aware, to be conscious of your physical limitations or your emotional limitations so that you don't overextend? Or did you do so? Like, how did you manage that?
I know myself. I know my body.
Okay.
So I knew, like, my metabolism was very high at the beginning because, I'm going, but that's not always healthy as well.
Right.
So I know where I need to be as a weight size. And when my mom first got sick, I wasn't there. I was, I lost weight because, of course, I was dealing with her. You're going. But once I went back in church, because the first couple of months, I wasn't saved. I wasn't back. It was the following year. And when I went back in, and I was leaning on Jesus the way I should, then I stabilized a bit. Because I knew that I couldn't do this on my own. I had to admit that I could not do this on my own. And that changed everything. Like, things were already in place, so God is going to provide, the rain falls on the just and the unjust. My mom was a praying woman. She was a Christian my whole life. So God was going to do for her what he was going to do for her anyway, regardless of what I did. But the question would be to myself, how do you want to go through this? Do you want to survive it? Do you want to be strong for your children? Do you want to see your children? So I had to, it was a moment. It was a aha, right? It was an aha moment. And it was the aha, I'm not aha no more moment. So God was like, either you're listening to me this time or I'm cutting you off. I kid you not. I tell people that was an experience I'll never forget. And I remember, and I told my sister, I was looking out the clouds, and I kid you not, you see your name written, you're like, that is weird. And then when I took the picture, it was gone. Those things, people need to remember, if you believe in God and you believe in Jesus, then if he's talking to you, you better go when he's talking to you.
To the listening audience again, I know this stuff, which is the reason why I should do this stuff anyway. So I guess it'd be a personal question. So did you just say that there was a point in time where you were a Christian, then you went out, then you came back in? So part of this thing was mommy, part of the experience with mommy was to get you back. Yeah,
because I knew I was born, I was born in church. So I was the child that's all I knew. Okay. So, you go, you do your own thing. And then when my mom got sick, it makes you think like, oh my goodness, I want to see my mom in eternity. I can't take this risk. Wow. Right? So I tell people, even when I was in the world and I would do something wrong, the Holy Spirit would say, well, you knew that was wrong. You got to be thankful I let you get through that one. Right? Okay. So this would happen over periods of time. Even when I was in school the first time. This is why I tell my children, I'm a one and done parent. Mess with my money once, you're on your own for college. Why? Because I done it to my parents, so I know that. Wow. Right? Okay. So I went and I played around and I flew with the money, and they said, good luck. But you go back the next time you're in it. And so said, so done. And it took years though. I mean, I went back and I did fantastic. However, it was because of me. They tell me, right? So I have the same exact principle. They'll all tell you, she's telling the truth. The older, I mess with my money. Okay, well, do what you gotta do. The youngest one, she completely heard me, did everything she needs to do. And then the other one's found not. And my middle one tells me, hey, Mama, college is not for everybody. I agree.
Yes, it is.
So she found her niche, right? So, but you have to tell children these things, right? You have to be serious with them. I have a granddaughter, as you know, we've talked about it before. Now it's getting ready to go off to college. She got to say, I'm a one and done. I'm the nana that has to. I have to be there for her. So I've told the same thing. Mess with me once, they'll come back, right? Because one is, college is not cheap.
To listeners again, this is Miss Allisson Russell talking, who is Reverend Seaman's sister. And I don't like to give you're not her sister, you are you and you are you.
Yes.
But it works this way. And again, I never have scripted shows in terms of here's all the questions because I just think it does right. That'll be a conversation, right? Yeah. But what you just said is phenomenal in terms of, as mommy in this instance, right? Children to realize that it's not for the parents to pay. If you act the fool, quote unquote, then that's on you. And so, but your children have listened.
Yes, they have. And they found.
Or are listening.
Yeah, they're listening. They're definitely listening because it's the truth.
So one of them, I don't want to put them on the spot. So you're saying one of them did what you did, which is to go and play around, and then have to fine. No.
So yes.
Okay. Don't call me. That's for sure.
No, they know.
Okay.
Two did. One tell me, I tell you, I don't want to go. So okay, fair enough. Right. Because education, I cannot say it, is key to success. However, not everybody can go that road. You could be the best banker. You could be the best maid. You could be the best plumber. Well, now you have to have your papers to do that. But you could be the best room attendant. In every career, you can be the best and work your way up. So I have preached that as well.
Okay.
But once you mess with my money the first time, you're on your head. Right? You're on your head. And they know it. I don't play with money.
And again, I think that's very, very powerful because a lot of times, I'm sorry. Hold on, caller. A lot of times as parents, right, we so want our children to have more than we did. And we go over and over and make excuses and that kind of thing, and so it's very refreshing. Last week, right, the same thing happened in terms of the conversation was so rich with the minister that I forgot to take calls and answer. So we'll do this in a minute. Let me just take this call real quick and then I'll comment. All right. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Insight. What's your question or comment? Yes, my beautiful guest. Carry on.
Amen.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you too.
All right. Thank you. Again, the boss on you.
I should probably talk about that for a minute.
Go ahead.
Hotel man.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You know everything about union. That's why I'm so good at numbers. My dad is great with numbers. And although a lot of people didn't like those calls, facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Ray Russell did not come if he didn't have the facts. Brilliant mathematician. And one thing he always told us is that he loved hotel so much that, and his family, that he chose that over football.
Okay.
Because he didn't want the drama that came with football back then. But
and still.
I knew he was, and still, you're right. We knew he was a good player. Clearly, we've got generations that are playing. My daughter actually went on a scholarship for football. So I know how blessed our family has been because of our talents.
Okay.
And our dad has always been that hotel man that will help anybody. Don't we know it? Maybe his last time, what convinced he did.
Yes.
He still thinks his work with numbers.
He still thinks his work with numbers.
Gotcha.
So, it's cute. He shares us something when we go there and he's like, this is how much they owe me. And I'm like, okay, dear. No problem.
And you know, not how, but even parents, what they do, it is an example for children. Good, bad, ugly.
Yes.
So we have to be mindful of what we do, what we don't do for the children, especially males.
Here's a thought. Do we want our children to have a title, or do we want them entitled? And I think for too long. For too long, we've just given. That's entitlement.
Yes.
But you earn a title. And that's where we have to get back to. We are a blessed people in Bermuda overall. And we have not taught the 40s under, 30s under, how much the labor was.
Mhm.
You know, that's why seniors are important.
Okay.
All right, and I know we're going to curveball to that.
Sure.
That's why the seniors have to be honored as monuments and statues of where we are today. And so when we look at how they're experiencing life,
Mhm.
it's a testimony as to whether we really appreciate what they work for.
Okay. And so for both of you, how did it adjust in terms of, you told me before, but how did it adjust in terms of an actual caregiver being able to afford that? And by the way, I don't want to know your personal,
Yeah, that's fine.
but just a general sense as to how did you manage, and if you can, that's one question. The other one is go back to the beginning in terms of, you said that when you went to the hospital, they basically prejudged you right away by saying you guys can't afford this stuff.
Absolutely.
So
I
let's
almost
do-
wanted
let's
to
do those two
become
things.
violent. Let me just say that. Yeah.
The shy,
I-
introverted
I
you.
had to,
Yeah.
I had to take care of the situation because the whole family was there.
Mhm.
So, you're like,
She cut us
why?
off.
Yeah, she's like, it's very expensive. And
She didn't know who she was dealing with.
I'm like, baby, you don't know me.
Mhm.
And she's like, well, it's very expensive. And
What were they trying
She's
to?
lived a good life.
What were they
Lived a
trying
good
to?
life.
Were they then trying to basically get you to
Because she
decide
didn't-
not to not to
She
resuscitate or not to cure or what?
Well, I guess she was telling us she hadn't heard back from Boston. And if we didn't do something within the next, say, 12 hours,
Mhm.
then mom wouldn't make it.
Okay.
So instead of her saying, hey, can you guys see what you can do on your end, and I'm going to be calling Boston. No, I had to tell her, go call Boston again.
Uh-huh.
Keep calling till you get somebody.
Okay.
And I'll handle the other side of it. Because she didn't know us. How can you judge people just because,
Right.
oh gosh, the color of the skin?
Uh-huh.
I mean, we didn't even look decent. We had past. Walking in, what
That's human.
concern.
Yes.
It was a good bit of the family there.
Uh-huh.
And one of our aunts had worked for the hospital, so you don't know us.
Uh-huh.
You didn't know our resources.
Okay.
So for me, that prejudgment, I didn't appreciate, but I dealt with it really professionally.
Yeah.
I had the ambulance, like I said, before she had the okay from Boston.
And how did you do that, by the way? The
Um,
ambulance.
I called, the social worker, I told her this is mom's insurance information.
Mm-hmm.
I knew my mom, one thing you gotta know what your parents have.
Okay.
So I knew her insurance plan. So if you know all of that, you know what you're dealing with up front.
And how did you know that?
Because we have that relationship with our parents, right? I need to know what you're paying, what you're spending your money on. I'm finance, right? So I'm going
So go back a bit, right? In terms of how did you get to a stage whereby mommy and daddy would tell you what they earn and like ensure that stuff basically, because who would you get it by child sort of thing?
Because I think after maybe they go 70, even before that, I have those conversations with my daughters now. Ain't no secret. This is what I make. If something happens to me, you take over because you're the money one.
Right.
And you do what you need to do, and then you divvy out what's left.
So your children, or at least one of them, understand your financial
I've
situation.
already, my bill is done. I have,
So-
the youngest one is the executive because she's the accountant. And they all know what they're going to get, and I can change it when I want to because it's my money. These are the conversations. When we say we have family meetings, we have family meetings. So you have to discuss it with them because you don't want to be caught in the slips. You don't want to be caught in the slips.
Yeah.
You want to be prepared. So the same way you're prepared in this life, you need to, let me throw the punchline, you need to be prepared for eternal life. You need to be prepared because anything can happen. And it's, in my mom's celebration of life, I said it. It used to be here today, going tomorrow. Now it's here today, going today. Are you prepared? Are you prepared if your family member passes away? Now, here's something interesting that I found out because of my mom's death. I didn't know you didn't get the death certificate unless you pay. Because people were telling me,
It takes a while, yes.
No. If it's a autopsy situation or unfortunate murder or a death that needs, more time for the coroners to look into, yes, it can take a while. But if you pay, you get it. I have mine.
And
I
so
have my
this,
mom.
and so mine, and I, people have to go back on Facebook and look at you because you'd be surprised about your bike right? But they also did now have this short form death certificate because of COVID, not
Right.
COVID, but after COVID, because during the COVID time there are no autopsies done and
Right.
all that kind of drama. I was searching that, all that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff.
And so now there's a short way of getting. I didn't
Not anymore.
appreciate that.
Back to the norm.
Is
So
it?
if you pay,
Mm.
you get it. And
Get it faster.
Yeah, you get it way faster. I had it like a week after the funeral.
Good.
Like, yeah. And you need it because I had to do business for my dad,
Yes.
which required that. My parents, I'm telling you, what a love story. And marriage may not be easy, but if you stick to it, you'll look like they are. Hey, mine didn't, but they set a great example.
Right.
They really took care of each other. Like, I can now see where the roles are reversed now. Because what I had to do, I had to, dad's pension, I had to put towards mom's caregiving. I have like spreadsheets galore when it comes to, you know, finances and things like that. And I at the same time, and I tell my siblings, we sit down, we have these conversations. I had a fund, a funeral fund. I was a little proud of myself. Once I got to funeral number 1, I was like, yeah, I'm there. Once I got to funeral number 2, I was like, hey, you know, because you can't, one of the days, and shout out to those that dear donate, because I appreciate it, because there are unforeseen costs that you don't think about, right? There are other costs. But for the most part, we did it. And we did it because I stuck to a plan. I'm like, I don't care what happens, we're putting certain amounts of money aside every month. So once mom got sick, that's what happened, and it brought us to where we are today.
So I'm listening to you, of course, right? But what happens when, I guess, what comment would you have about the fact that most families are not that like that? Like there is no young you that takes charge and like, who do you think you are and all that kind of stuff.
You need to, if you have siblings,
yes,
you've got to. Now we don't agree on everything. We're pretty good. But the boys are different. Boys are different. But we talk it out. Like there is not going to be a time where we're not going to have this conversation. But with this, we were all on the same page because it was our parents, and we had wonderful parents. We weren't rich. We definitely weren't rich, right? But we never went without.
Okay.
And my dad liked to give away money. He was taking care of people. And like, hey, this person needs money. I'm like, well, so do I. I'm shopping on the $10 shoe store. You know?
That's okay.
Right? But it taught us something.
Right.
The value of money. It's not what you have, it's what you do with it.
Yeah.
Do you care for other people? Would you help somebody that's really in need? But it's always, to me, family first. Take it to your family first. Don't take it to the streets.
Right.
I don't like GoFundMes. I don't like them.
Why not?
Why? Because I think you should deal with your family first.
Real quick, sorry. A lot of times we use this terminology and we expect people to know what is a GoFund.
That's basically, for me, it's when you unfortunately didn't have the funds, and I get it, because sometimes it could be medical.
Yes.
And then you go to the general public. My whole thing would be, did you go to the family first?
Okay.
Go to your family first. Like, I get, okay, not everybody's family is that close. I understand that, but go to your family, because you never know, right? That could be what brings everybody back together, because in actual fact, this made us closer, and we were already close.
Okay.
Right? But this really made us closer because we had to march to the beat. Right? So for me, it'll always be family first. So I'm very skeptical about those things because, of course, it'd be for me again. Did you talk to your family?
Okay.
Did you really sit down and pour your heart out? Break those curses that, you know, oh, I don't like that person. Sometimes we have to get beyond that. And then if we can celebrate cup match and be all happy with each other, like for emancipation, we should be able to do this year on. And maybe that'll help us in one community. And, you know, because we have a lot of our boys, we're losing our boys, right? If we don't push the family back to them and show them how much they love, that's why they like the streets. The street says, I love you.
Gotcha.
You know, just do this for me, I'll give you some money. And it's really not money for them. They are really looking for somebody to say, but I do love you. I do care about you. I'm not condoning your bad behavior. Oh, because Dianne Russell, I can tell you, my mama did not play. When we say we have an elder sibling, she had to take on her 2 young grandchildren after that. My mama didn't play. He acted up, she dealt with it. Right? And sometimes you have to have no regrets. You have to take a tough line. But it's because of love. Right? So now I find that this, look, we all know the mama's boy thing exists, right? But you can still be a tough mom. Because we say it every time. How come we had chores and then our brother was playing Atari? Right? So we understand that. But he's not a criminal. You know what I mean? So you still have to have that line. You have to, because the boys are key to the family.
Yes, of course.
Right? And what we're getting now is the girls are taking care of the boys. The boys are not marrying the girls. What? This is a mess. What we should be saying is, hi, and I've been married. I get it. Doesn't work for everybody. But I wanted it to. Right? So we're not pushing that. We're just saying, happy babies. Okay, great. And then what happens? The court. Then they're complaining about the court because that's not working out for you, right? Instead of building relationships. And my daughters, I have relationships with the kids. Always did. I made sure no matter how I felt or whatever, that relationships were there. And we could talk because those children needed to see relationships.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's all about family. It's still gonna come to, and the right family, God's family, Genesis, male, female, they get married, they have babies, they push the baby carriage.
Gotcha.
That's the concept. It works. Nobody can say it don't work. We just want what we want in our human selves, right? But that doesn't make it right.
Yeah. And so
Just keep on saying what, but go ahead.
just to continue on what Al has said, you know, it used to be that you had your personal family and then you had your church family. Well, the more that we move away from God, from the concepts of the Bible, the more we're going to struggle as a people. When I look around Bermuda, I'm old enough to say it at 60, and we see what goes on during the weekend, and in particular on a Sunday. I'm going parked out there. I see people, a car going across the pedestrian. I've never seen a car make its own way across the pedestrian. People smoking and drinking. Listen, this does not promote family.
Okay.
We're not going to become a healthier society emotional-wise when we are putting our emotions in things instead of people. You know, the horse is out of the stable. Can we start today? Can someone hear this hopefully and say, you know what? Let's train our girls. I train my girls. Don't bring a child here with my last name. I have no sons. So every child should have the father's last name because you're married to them. You know, no, they haven't been angels. Everything hasn't been perfect. But there was a message given. And family is important. We saw mom and dad. This couple, this love story. And so therefore it was at least presented to us so that we could make a fair effort to replicate it. And the concern is that families are not presenting this in the first place so that the children can look and say, oh yeah, mom and dad should be in the house with me.
Okay, and so
the family, so when I haven't possibly all the GoFundMe, because of the family, you see.
And so keep your pastor hat on, right? What do you then do though if the non-traditional family is presented? Like, how do you adjust, soften, whatever that word is? Because I'm the child and it's not my fault, quote unquote. So what happens? What do you say?
You do your best. You do the best you can. You love everyone equally, but you prepare for the next generation. You can change what has happened, but you can influence what's going to happen in the future. I'm not going to love a child that doesn't have the father in the home any more or less than my own. The love is the same, so that hopefully my own and their own continue down the road in a healthier way. We want a healthy society. Have some fathers saying, I cover your mother, and that's why I cover you. So you respect your mother, I cover. It's a different environment. It's a different space, you know. And if you're a big, strong man, married a woman, cover those children.
And because I was told some people recently, right? The reality is that marriage is not what it used to be. Not in terms of being married, but like the vision or the desire to get married is not as much as it was in the past. So young people are like, why get married? What's the point? Sort of thing. Right? So I'll give you, that's the wrong word, by the way. Keep your pastor hat on for a minute, and I'm smiling again, right? In terms of what do you say to me, young person, who's not looking forward to marriage as being a necessary part of what I want to do?
This is a teaching moment, and a teaching moment is not going to happen in one instance because we have to understand why the demise. Where did it start? When did it start? We have to appreciate that the family is the first institution of God. And so therefore it's going to be the most attacked institution. But you have to teach that growing up. I said to somebody today, I'm not sure, where we are today, we can't cure this in 5 years and 10 years. We're 2 generations down the road of saying we'll need him. Damn it, we can do this. No. Maybe you can, but you ought not, because you didn't make them by yourself. So that whole family thing, it rolls into how do you care when your parents, your family, get in trouble. Well, if your family has to come together, then it stands to reason that families are important.
Okay.
And so the overall answer is it's not a quick response because we didn't get here quickly.
Okay.
Because their mindset is already down a different track.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to help to pull it back. You know, real quick, 40 years ago, we didn't have as much vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
60 years ago, didn't have as many vehicles. Every parish had a church. Everybody walked to church. Now we can drive one end of the island to the next,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't go to church. Why? We have become so entitled and we can do what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
No, let's do what God would have us to do, since the breath that we breathe came from Him, and
Okay.
jolly well is going to go back to Him one day. We've
Okay.
seen it happen. And
Really?
so, you know, today being a month, I said to the church, well, God said to me this morning, I am a month closer to seeing my mother, because she's been
Okay.
gone a month. And see, if we raise children, this is important, and they are only now mindset, what I want now, what I want to do now. No, there's eternity.
Yes.
And we have to keep eternity in view. I remember when Allisson gave her heart, I think it was January 27th.
It was March.
March 27th.
Mm-hmm.
When she gave her heart to the Lord, she had told my mama rejoiced. I came up the house. My mama had forgotten that Allisson had told her. I said, Mama, Allisson became a Christian.
Right.
She fell on the bed. She said, oh, thank you, Jesus. And she just laughed.
Gotcha.
And it was such joy. And I believe that joy is possible in the homes of Bermuda. Let's stop putting the cameras, lights, and action of the world as being more beneficial than a relationship with God. We've stolen the relationship with God.
Oh.
And we're told them it's going to be better to do everything else. It's a lie. It's a lie. How do I know? Because at the end of the day, all these people end up coming to church.
Yes. Okay.
You see?
And what's interesting is, I guess I should ask the question. So you called your mother what?
Mom.
Mom, and you call the same thing?
Mom.
Okay.
Mm.
Because it's like, it's a cultural thing, right? It's mama, it's mommy, it's mom, it's whatever those things are, and for me it's mama, right?
Mm.
And that says something in that little word, you know what I mean? And so anyway, that's just my little thing, how we refer to our parent.
I can remember when she was first at Lady, and they were waiting for our eyes to open. And it took a while. It was, I think it happened the day before I was coming back, because I had a vacation. And we both we say a lot of things at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We both at the same time, we said, Mommy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was it wasn't Mom at that time, it was
Right.
Mommy.
Gotcha.
So depending. Now, Mom always calls me Pastor.
Yes.
Only towards the very end, she started calling me Maria.
Okay.
See? Relationship.
Yes. And that's interesting, by the way, because you do the exact same thing.
Mm.
You don't call her sister, you call her
I said Pastor
Yeah.
sis.
Yes. Tonight you said pastor only time except
Yeah.
once, my sister.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that that dynamic.
Respect.
Okay, so listening audience again, we have Allisson Russell in front of us and Dr. Maria Seaman, in case you know the voice, and just having a general conversation now, but started more so in terms of how we make do 4 generations, a big piece about the healthcare.
Yeah.
And so your mother was in the coma, you said she had with her eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they were draining.
6
about
weeks
6
later, we
weeks.
drained the blood from her
Blood from
brain.
her brain.
Gotcha.
To the aneurysm.
And we just went every day and just
Yeah,
watched.
she just sat there.
Just watch.
And
Played the music.
Played the gospel.
Uh-huh.
Sat there.
Okay.
Dad sat there.
Yeah.
This went on. That's what we done. It was a labor of love, and like I said, she became my baby.
Uh-huh.
So I have been her baby, so she became my baby. Committed.
And
Wow.
and for me, I was missing my praise partner.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was a shock. That is still a shock too.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
The person that I knew I was going to meet every Sunday, and they were going to cheer me on. I took pictures because I just think my mom was beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Every Sunday.
Every
Every Sunday took pictures of my mom, and she didn't want to. She said, "Girl, you and that girl." That's how she was, girl. You know, but I said, "Come on, Mom," and we'll take our picture.
Okay.
Because I just was always aware of how blessed I am to have such a cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason, one Sunday, and then this happens on like a Wednesday, whenever it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And my Sundays have never been the same.
Understood.
And so this is someone that I literally just worshipped along with.
Mhm.
And so that dynamic of change has really been, it was really something to look and not see her,
Mhm.
not see her raise her hand a certain way,
Yeah.
and not to have her to express. She always let me know how blessed she was, her and Dad. And they basically both went back at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember my dad seeing my mom when she first went to the hospital, and he just bawled. He just bawled. And they were going to regress
Yeah, together.
together.
Gotcha.
Because actually,
Yeah.
today, I actually probably ignored him. He's like, hey, how's your mom? I was like,
That's the first time it's happened.
I said, are you enjoying your gingerbread? And he's like, oh, yeah. So anyway,
Well,
just forgets just like that. Because sometimes you just don't want to deal with it.
Mhm.
You know, I don't want him, and I didn't want him to maybe have a bad evening. So I was like, you know what, Allison, act like you didn't hear him in that moment. Because, you know, if it was early in the day, like the week before when he asked, I said, Dad, remember what I said? I said, Mom's going home to be with the Lord. And he's like, oh, right.
Yeah.
And then it's fine. Because, you know, we have to be careful with
Yeah.
being gentle with him, right? Because we don't know how long, you know, the Lord will keep him, and we're trying to love on him, you know, and keep him going, you know, while we still are fresh with Mom's loss.
Okay.
Lost Mom.
And clearly, you know, being respectful of that, because it wasn't just to go back for you, Allison. It wasn't as if we planned it to be this today. It was more some time ago.
Remember we told
You called, right, and
to
then you had to go away or something happened, so we're allowed to do it like some time ago.
Yeah.
And then
But, you know,
today,
God's timing is perfect.
yes,
Because, you know, I was conversating with someone in the hospital earlier, and I was like, they were talking about caregiving, and I'm like, look, it's a budget thing. See what you can work with. See who can fill in the gaps. You know, if you can put the person in your house, it's always good, you know, because one thing we didn't want to do, we said, we are not putting our mama in our home.
okay,
Something about your mama.
yeah,
And your dad might be a little different. But it's something about your mama. Because our mom, never judgmental. She never said to me, you know, get on my mom, our mom was just different. She prayed for everybody.
yes.
Just prayed.
Uh-huh.
You know, and then she saw you getting wrong. She had a way of saying it. And then she'd be like, you'll get it one day. And she was right. But everybody says it. Nobody believes it. Wait till you become a mother.
Right.
Nobody believes it till you become a mother. And we were like, we're not putting it in her hand. And so, you know, at one point where I got a little tired, and Reed passed, you know, we had the conversation where we were like, all right, I'll take her for a week. That'll give you a break. Because trust me, I would sleep the whole week. It would go like that.
And that's interesting in terms of it's what I said real. That's why you're here today, right? It's to know that those things happen, and there is a so with the extreme, I would guess, extreme tiredness, and realizing, guess what, you're not superhuman.
Nope.
How would you reflect on just your thought about, oh man, I never thought I'd even think about this, but now I have to think about the reality of mommy going into a home.
I don't think we ever considered it on, like, even when she got near the end. Shout out to Dementia Bermuda.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So I felt it coming. Like the Lord was preparing us anyway.
Yes.
Because, you know, up the last 2 months you could see things were changing. And I had a conversation, and she said, you know, to swallow, once they can't swallow, that's one of the last things. It's a muscle that you wouldn't believe how much it takes to swallow. So when you start seeing things like that, we don't know exactly the amount of time, but then I'm like, well, how do I encourage her to drink? You can't. And then I'm like, well, do we put it in a home? Are we doing everything we can? When you think about it, I have my own little agape house.
Okay.
There is nothing you can do except love them. And for when she went through the phase where she didn't recognize us, the last week she called my name. I said, you know me? And she was like, yes. Right? So I'm like, oh. The Monday, I said to Pastor, the Monday I said, Mom, I love you, but it's okay to go. Because she had called my name. So to me, that was like a signal like, hey, we're getting near. Right? And we didn't know how near we were.
Right.
Yeah. How we were.
And if you can, how, like, as best you can, I guess, explain to us what that means, that your mother called your name for the first time in a long time.
It was some hour in the morning, because we went through a phase where it was so many hours in the morning, but she hadn't done it in a long time, and I heard it softly. And I'm a light sleeper. I have children, right? So I heard Allison, and I went down there. What's wrong? What's wrong? Nothing. I just want you. You know, she always wanted a hug or to build or get in the bed. I'm like, Mama, I am not climbing up in that bed.
Gotcha.
So I put my head next to hers, and then I said, I love you, like I always do, right? And I'm like, you want to drink some water? She hated water.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? And I just knew. I just knew. I just knew. I was at that point where I was like, I'm getting travel insurance because I've taken out college. So I was like, I'm gonna get travel insurance and I'm taking a trip, so I need to get travel insurance just in case I have to dash back. And then we get the week of Barclay's graduation. So my granddaughter's graduating. Little be nice to us. Now I had requested that her great grandmother go do it on Barclay's graduation day. She told her Nana.
Wow.
She's like, Nana, please don't go on my graduation day. I was at the graduation and I noticed the daughter-father dance. There was so many young girls crying because I guess their fathers had passed or things weren't right. And I was trying to talk to my daughter about something and I couldn't. I was so emotional and I felt something, right? I couldn't even explain it. Now I knew. I was really feeling it. And I had said to my boyfriend, as I call him, that day when Mom and I passed this house, because we were doing the switch, and I said to him, I'm never sending my mama again. I'm just going to have to suck it up, Buttercup, because she was too fragile and I just wasn't comfortable anymore. So I said, you know what? It is what it is. It'll be my house. People will sleep here or whatever. And he's, and I said, oh, we're going to work on Mom's obituary. He's like, she's not dying. And I'm like, it's going to come and we all need to be ready.
Gotcha.
This is the morning off.
Wow. Okay.
So then my sister calls me and I said, are you ready to tell Mom that you love her and you're ready to say goodbye? And she said yes. I said, you want to go in there with the instructions.
Yes, and you think
go
about
in there,
yeah,
and you do that. And you tell her. And then we called some people that needed to see Mom.
Sure.
And then 123 on June 27th, which is my eldest daughter's birthday. What a week. I knew it was going to be a birthday.
Gotcha.
Mom transitioned, but it was so peaceful and Pastor can speak to that, that is the way it needed to be. And I feel that God wanted Mom with Pastor because Pastor needed it more than I did. I knew and I accepted it. But for her, as always being with Mom and things like that in the church, she needed to see it to believe it.
Okay.
Sometimes seeing is believing. I wasn't there at that moment, but I knew it was coming, and I had prepared myself. The nurse, I had the nurse over a few weeks before that, so I could talk to him. I was setting up a family meeting with Dementia Bermuda to explain to everybody, at near the end of life, this is what you're going to go through. So I had all the information I needed. They had been on Magic a few times. So I'm like, turn on the radio.
Yes.
And so I was really, God prepared me. He really did. And it was his time. It was absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect for me.
Okay.
Yeah. The week before Mom transitioned, of course, I'm a woman of faith. We both are. So you keep on doing. And I said, okay, Mom. I said, you're coming up my house next week. She got head. I said, no, I'm going to be doing some cooking for you because I'm going to fatten you up. I'm going to fatten you up because you're going to come back here. She just shook her head. When I picked her up on the Thursday, 26.
Yeah.
I looked at my mama. I almost told my brother, take her right back in. I said, no, I got to go through this. And I took out my house. I was due to stop the car up for pick up something, but I couldn't. I just held her head all the way. I said, oh my God, I'd never have to do this before. Got her in the house and just monitor her. And for the first time, I put an iPod and let music play all night. Because I didn't want her by herself, so I would make sure she had this music. And then the next day, she couldn't eat anything. I was trying to she wouldn't eat anything. Mom is not going to eat something sweet.
Then you knew,
That's serious. And, I'm trying to push down her tongue and trying to see what's going on here. I said, oh my goodness. And at some point, after I talked to Al, Cody, and a couple of people to come talk to her, have a prayer with her, whatever. At that point, I don't know why, but it's like something kicked over in me. I did not understand it to this day. I went around to Mom put my cheek next to hers and prayed. She's a praying woman.
Mm-hmm.
I prayed. I said, thank you, Mama, for being the best mama to us. We love you, and we're going to see you on the other side. Just thank you so much. You couldn't have done any more. I sang to her, victory ahead, through the blood of Jesus. Victory ahead, trusting in the Lord. I hear the conquer strand. By faith, I see the victory. I needed to keep her with the victory in mind, and victory in Jesus. Victory in Jesus, my Savior forever. And then I started to go to Psalms 23.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved away. I said, Mama, you went.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know when. Just smooth. And the caregiver says that at some point while I was singing, which I had not seen her brown eyes,
Mm-hmm.
kept them closed. They say that she opened her eyes, she looked at me, she closed them, and she went on to be with Jesus. And so the comfort there, well, first of all, it was horrific.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I called my sister.
I'm like, why you calling me? Why you keep calling me?
I said, Allisson,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And called our brother and called my daughter away, Jana Maria, and just had to come to the realization that eternity just happened for her. Just a sobering moment, but I was so glad it was no pain. That's probably what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
I could not bear it. My mama was gasping and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so God honored
Mm-hmm.
our prayers.
Yeah.
She went off so smoothly. It was amazing. And I give God praise for that. And I went in and I did a sermon. That's what I do.
And the question I have for you, Pastor Seaman, right,
Mhm.
is Christian, praying to God, and God's going to conquer all things, and all that stuff. So my question is, hold on, Corner. My question is, as best you can, help us to understand, right, the idea that God took your mama, and you have to realize that, because I don't know how to ask the question, but I want to ask the question just because for the praying Christian woman, that God took not well, that's not right, but that it transitioned, notwithstanding your prayer, for I guess for her to continue on. How does for the listening audience give us that?
Yeah, first of all, we recognize as a family, God gave us just
I was
about
gonna say
6
that.
years
Mhm.
extra.
Yeah.
Okay.
He could have received her back in 2019.
That's right.
Here we are. That's right. In
Okay.
2025. And she got to see great-grandchildren
Five.
born.
More.
Okay.
My first, and I did ask God, I said, please don't take my mom before she gets to see one grandchild I have.
Okay.
Now, that's about the switch right there. I have a 10-month-old, and she got to see her.
Okay.
So it's, you begin to recognize some of the things that you've spoken to God,
Mhm.
and you also realize in being a Christian that she's whole.
Yes.
Mhm.
She's okay. If you don't understand that, then the grieving can be horrendous.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, it has to have a season. You can't hurt yourself because God will not want that. That while you're grieving, you take so much inwardly.
Mm.
Now, I will tell you that having said to my mom, I'm going to fatten you up and feed you
Uh-huh.
when you come up the house for this week. I haven't cooked a meal since mom has transitioned.
Whoa.
I haven't cooked one meal. I'm going to try to do that on Cop Match. Make the
Okay.
transition.
Okay. Okay.
Haven't felt like it because some people would know this term, Pastor Chef. I only became Pastor Chef because I had to fix different meals for my mama.
Okay.
And
Cool.
so my elevated joy of cooking
Uh-huh.
was based on the fact that we needed to cook these different type
Yeah.
of meals for mom.
Uh-huh.
And so that sting there, that's it's okay to be human
Yeah.
and to cry and to grieve and all of that. However, if you know the Lord, if you know Jesus,
Mhm.
if you believe in God,
Yeah.
she's not in pain
That's
anymore.
right.
Okay.
Tara.
Well, bring her back to pain, to
Mhm.
struggling. How selfish would we be? No. So we now have to understand that legacy
Mhm.
and run our leg well,
Yes.
so that we will see her.
Okay.
And that's what it's about. That's the importance of the culture of true Bermudian culture.
Yeah.
That's right.
We knew these things and believed these things.
Mhm.
Now we've turned over to something else, and the struggle becomes different, becomes more real and difficult when you don't have your faith and trust in God. God came through.
Yes. Okay.
He took her in victory.
And it's for me it's very important because as Christians, right, we say whatever we say sort of thing, right, but it's bringing those words to life. And clearly I've never had the chance to ask that question for pastor in terms of that your mother has died, right, but I think it's important for me for sure, and to listen to all this also to understand that there is a practical reality to being a Christian. And it's not this one-dimensional Bible thumping blah 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 blah. You know, there is, as you both of you know more than I would know for sure, that as they say, the rubber hits the road.
Definitely.
And there are some things you have to do, family oriented, and even this. And you coming back to the Lord. So
Yeah. Hey.
good evening, caller. Thank you for your patience. Welcome to Insight. What's your question or comment? What I want to do is transition a little bit in terms of the just more general now. The generation, the sandwich piece, and so really it was right now Daddy, who's the older person,
Yes.
and now it's Daddy, us, children, grandchildren, right?
Correct.
How's that doing? Tell me some fun stuff. And in the context, you know, cotton match, you said somebody plays football, somebody does this, somebody's an accountant, blah, 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 a million grandchildren, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's busy. It's busy. Sometimes I want to run away.
Gotcha.
It's that busy. Yeah, they all do something. My grandson, hilarious, Cam.
Uh-huh.
Cam just played the wicketkeeper for Somerset at mini cup match. The footage is
Gotcha.
hilarious. He had 3 stumping. Shout out Cam. That's right.
Cam,
Cam. He loves sports.
Uh-huh.
So we show my dad footage. He
Okay.
loves Camden because it's
Okay.
hilarious, right?
Gotcha. Yes, yes,
So he
yes.
plays football, he plays cricket, he does the gum bears. We keep him busy
Mhm.
because you need to keep these boys busy so you
Gotcha.
can keep them out of trouble. I have an older grandson, he has a little summer job, you know. I am on these children. Don't make the mistakes that you saw.
Uh-huh.
You can be better. So every generation should strive to be better,
Uh-huh.
than the last. Meaning, don't make those mistakes. Don't have the children out of wedlock. Get an education if that's what you want to do, or get a good job and be the best you can be at it.
Mhm.
So that is what I'm teaching them. Like, don't become so fixated with social media and all this stuff that is not reality. TV stars are not real. That's not real life. They have drama too. So you have to keep talking to them because, of course, they see so much.
Right.
So much is in front of their eyes. They type in a S and sex comes up. You're like, what?
Mhm.
So you have to protect them from themselves because, of course, I only had 2 channels.
Mhm. Yes, that's right.
50 million,
It's,
right? So it is really scary. So it takes all of us. So it's like, okay, somebody be doing something today, and now I'm just sort of adjusting back to the fact that I have this time,
uh-huh.
right? So it's
Okay.
like, oh, okay, I have time. What should I do? Go sleep.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Fair enough.
like,
Catch up, catch up. Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
So it's been strange, but I can't wait to watch him play football again. I have 3 of them playing football, and it's like, oh, I get to watch a game again because I sacrificed. My
Yeah.
mom was everything. It is what it is.
Sure.
So now you can do those things. You can go to the beach. You know, you can go get ice cream.
Uh-huh.
Things like I really couldn't do. And then I make sure my grands, when they're home, they go to church.
Uh-huh.
Like, what happened? Church is not killing anybody. We need to stop,
And
Sunday still matters.
why?
Because it's a grounding. It's a moral grounding.
What does that mean?
It means that they need to understand that Jesus died for their sins. At
Uh-huh.
some point, if they're like me, they're going to come back. That's
Okay.
what the Bible says, right? They'll go, but they will come back to it because they know what they have learned. And if you believe it and you have parents that believe it, you got to pray them through it, right? So,
And what happens if they do? So my parents don't take me
Well,
to church, they'll send me to church, my aunts
no,
don't go, whatever.
well, then you need people like, I'm that neighborhood person where I used to offer it to people. And Shekinah, we have a van to pick up children. People start
Mhm.
at first, and then the parents don't want to get them ready.
Right.
Or what really can be worse, we don't mind having children, but if I say church is ending at 1,
Mhm.
and I'm going to bring your child back home, then please be there to collect little Johnny
Yes.
because he can't watch himself. But we offer it because that's what we moved away from. And what I hear in my children's generation is, oh, you made us go to church.
Mhm.
No, we did what was best for you. Look how you turned out, pretty good. So why would you take that same blessing from your own child? Why would you take the risk, right, of letting the world raise your child? I don't want the world raising my children. I'm not doing a good job.
So you must know promotion time.
Yes.
So Shekinah has a bus that goes around Sundays and gets the children.
Well, we have a church van, and we've offered. I've had it on social media, put it on television.
Right.
If you need a ride, your children or whatnot, we'll make this available. We'll make it happen. Sadly, again, our children are so distracted by walks, runs, games, sports. They have made little G's and placed these things first, when ultimately we all will end up before Big G.
Got you.
And it's a choice. I can't force parents.
Right.
We make the offer. I make it right here, right now. SwimAtLogic.bm. Reach out to us. We'll see to it that your child, even for youth night or Sunday school, church, that they are collected. But we have to have parents that are willing to do it. And that's where it falls short.
And so you, with the grandchildren, take
And like a
grandchildren.
mini boss.
But my question though is, so many sports take place on Sunday, and to be the best, I'm gotta be able to be there. So what do you do to do that? How do you manage
My
that?
youngest daughter played football.
Right.
Yeah, it's not still now. I budge here and there,
Right.
but you need to put more time in God's house. So if my grandson becomes talented, he knows I'm not the mother, I'm the grandmother.
And
So I give the I give the advice. Then I say, well, I'm not putting my money. It's subtle ways you can go about stuff, but they know our standard. They know our mother's standard. They know we have a standard, and it's biblical.
And so, again, it's not a personal issue, and you can choose to answer how you right? But how do you do it though in terms of you are not the parent, so how do you manage that?
Love, real love.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
My mom prayed for Raymond, Allison, and I every day before we went off to school. I have seen Allison because she has the multitude of grandchildren.
Yeah.
She's got 7. She prays for her grandchildren, right? I've just become a grandmother. She prays for her grandchildren. They have memorized, of course, the prayer ending. So the viewing, Al.
Yeah.
We're at the viewing of Mom, and we're ready to go. And one of the grandchildren says, "Can we gather around Nana one more time and pray? Say the family prayer."
Okay.
You see, that's love. Love is not what you can financially give them. Love is what you can implant into their spirits,
Yes, clearly.
so it doesn't leave them. I think that's one of the most powerful things I've seen. And I didn't lead in the prayer. I'm the pastor. They did. He did. You see? So
And
he
so-
can't forget that.
And so now that's 2 questions then. To come back to you, I mentioned here, by the way.
I have 3 daughters.
Okay.
So
did they I don't know, anyway.
good.
So
Ask the question.
the question is, so you're not the mama,
No.
right? I'm the mama, and these are my children. And so
Who owns the house? Tenants or not? Who owns the house?
but that doesn't work because at some point I
actually,
make
my
more
daughters are
money.
very respectful when it comes to that.
Okay.
There's children like the littlest 2. I can't deal right. They need to use the bathroom. But they're gonna start coming as well soon, right?
Okay.
So I'm trying to make sure that when they come, I've got somebody lined up because I sit up front. I ain't got time to speak to you still too because they're busy.
So
So
on a Sunday you'll take all the children
Yeah.
all the grandchildren up to
yes,
me.
whoever time goes to church, or I pick up one of my grandsons. He lives with his father,
Right.
And I pick him up.
But what do you do about the sports piece? Because here's a good lot
Well,
of
the
football that I play
younger
some
one, we haven't. Do you hear me? Hopefully, he'll know better by that time. Because, first of all, if he gets to that level, he should be playing at 3:00, right? Tell your coach you'll be there after church. We have to keep them focused. He loved. So my mom would have been his great grandma. He loved, one of the things he said, he loved dancing with her in church.
Okay.
He sings, it drives me crazy.
Yes.
But he sings all the time because she's a singer. My mom was the best singer. Those 2 will be singing.
Okay.
So those things are in him. He still goes in there right now. He's going into her room and he sits in the chair.
Okay.
And he probably thinks for a little bit. But that's because how much love he had for her. So he knows my expectations. I tell him, you could be anything you want to be, but the most important thing to have is a relationship with Jesus.
Okay.
Without it, you're basically nothing, because you could break your leg tomorrow. My youngest daughter, she ended up with an ACL injury.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God for education, because that took football right out of the picture. Right?
Yes.
So anything can happen. You have to be prepared for the anything can happen.
And for the listening audience, when it comes to, we do promote the excellence in sport, not recognizing though that for every one excellent person, there's like 100,000 that did not get through. And even now for Bermuda, we'll find that a lot of, and there's nothing wrong with this, by the way, but many parents are sending their boys in particular to the UK for soccer. And yes, we get one or two every so often, but you'd be surprised how many go and do not succeed in that sense. And so there's a good balance.
And I understand it, because of course my daughter was a great boy. She had it on both sides, right?
Gotcha.
But when that injury happened, her whole life changed. As much as she loves football,
Gotcha.
she couldn't play it to the level that she used to play national sport.
Sure.
Young, she couldn't play it anymore. And I felt her pain.
Gotcha.
I understand that totally. That's why you have to have something beyond. So, you know, when we get into the education, as I said, my eldest granddaughter's going off to college, right? You know, I have to be there to support them. So I expect if I have to help, then there's something you have to give back. And you do it because you respect me and you understand it. Because it's not just about the money, it's about the fact that I'm pouring into you. And if I'm pouring into you, then I expect that you'll respect the fact that church is important.
And so, again, this is now the personal piece, so that they will, not they will, but I guess, so you've tried to impart to them that this is what Nana expects or values, and therefore there's an expectation.
And you know, I can
of some
prove it
tie back?
because I wasn't in the church when my children were going. But I never disrespected my mom and said, hey, Megan, I'll take them to church because I want to go to the football game. I had to wait. And I did wait. Mom would come here with the girls, and then I would feed them because I always cooked. So I would feed them, and then we would go off to the game. Not before they went to church and Sunday school. No.
So you knew better?
Yes. So I'm training them with the same mindset. You know better.
Okay.
Because when it comes to the end of the day, you're going to have something to stand on. You're going to have a principle, right? You're going to understand that it wasn't your breath that we gave up this morning, because anything can happen. And I know it factually because we went through the accident thing last year with one of them. Anything can happen.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And you have to be prepared for the anything can happen. So the respect that we have for one another, my girls know that there's an expectation.
So what I hope is the last personal type questions. How did the daughter adjust to, I can't play football anymore, so...
She could play a little bit, but I'm like...
But not, because of course, again...
that injury is too deep.
Right.
Academics. She's brilliant. She's getting on scholarships. Thank God. Right? Because I didn't have that type of money.
Right.
Definitely not back then, because what I did, and you know, this is a praying mother, what I did, when she went off to school, I went back to school.
School?
I went back. I worked and went to school. Right? So I did online. I went up to Bermuda College. I did it. I pressed my way through it.
So it's Cutmax time, right?
Yes.
Cutmax time in Bermuda, all the thing. And we're talking about wait, let me just say, time was course. So what I was going to go back to is the whole idea of your story, because I didn't know that either. I just knew it's the accounting person that comes down, she talks, and sometimes when she's really just like, she ain't thinking of nonsense, a no nonsense person, right? So if you can, I want to talk about Cutmax, but before that, so tell us your thing, because it's an inspiring story that mommy you didn't just end up here.
No, I did not. I had my daughters young, and I always strive to do the best at everything I done. So I had some good jobs. And then I was like, okay, well, she's got a scholarship. So she was my youngest one. I'm like, okay, that'll give me some time to go back to school. At first, I wanted to be a teacher. Then I saw how these children were acting. I said, no, stick to the money.
Gotcha.
Stick to the money. And I graduated top that year. I was the top student at Bermuda College that year.
Wow.
And I pressed my way through it. I cried. I hated math and ball.
Right.
I hated math. But I pressed my way through it because I understood I needed to have a better life for my children. I wanted to ensure that I could go to the bank and say, hey, I need to take on my family homestead. I had a plan. Always had a plan. My daddy said, you always have a plan. You have a plan.
Okay.
I had a plan, and I wanted to show them that even if you have children and you're not married, you can correct that if you get an education of some sorts, or you put your best foot forward, climb the ladder. You know, back in the day, you could climb the ladder to
Yeah.
the job.
Yeah.
It's still possible in some jobs,
Uh-huh.
right? So they saw me do all of that, still feed them. I didn't shirk my responsibilities at home, you know. So I had to study nights, go to work days, and that's when we were airport ops,
Mhm.
right? I had to go to work, go to school. I'll be leaving the airport, go to class, come back to the airport, go home, do an exam, online classes. I did it. I
Oh.
did it for my children because I recognized that I needed to be in a better footing and a better career
Uh-huh.
in order to sustain the family because I didn't have the covering of the husband,
Gotcha.
right? I had my parents' support, I had my
Uh-huh.
family support, but I needed to do better, right? I didn't want to rely on government,
Uh-huh.
right? And I think, shout out to the premier, he knows I'm going to say this. Only thing I believe
Oh, dear.
is that student loan got to be put back in place because if we can pay off crazy debts to the UK for things we should have never paid, Lord have mercy. I watched the Somerset thing. I was traumatized. If we can pay off debts for
Uh-huh.
for slave owners and all that stuff, we can give our children money and back it, right, without having to make them jump through hoops because scholarships are great. I'm not
Yes.
knocking it.
Yeah.
But if you only got 50 children getting, what about the other 1,000? Because not everybody can go Bermuda College, right?
Right.
It's not conducive for everybody.
Mhm.
It's not a one size fits all, and I know that personally,
Sure.
right? Not every journey can happen at Bermuda College. It is great, but it is not for every career. They're trying some stuff.
Yes.
It's not there yet. So for the medical fields, we need to, and look, we just need to, if you need money and you got somebody that can say, you know what, I'll sign for little Johnny just to make sure that they come back home. If not, none of them are coming back home.
Mhm.
Okay? So Bermuda's changing dynamically because they're all going to be like, I can make more money on her and you don't want to help me get educated? Well, guess what? I'm coming back. And then,
Yep.
I don't even know what Bermuda's going to look like in about 20 years.
Chinese.
And it's the truth, right? Nobody don't want to really admit it, but if we don't help our children, and I've talked to people in the ministry,
Yeah.
they agree. It used to be in place, and okay, 5 bad apples didn't pay that money
There's more than
back.
5, by the
I
way.
know, I used to work
Yes.
there, you know I know.
Yes.
Right? I know more than 5 bad
Mhm.
apples never paid it back, but you
Yeah.
can put, just like you can put the loan guarantee in place,
Okay.
you can do the same thing with students
Mhm.
and money. And the interest doesn't have to be astronomical
Correct.
for the bank to make money, and we all know that.
That's
So-
interesting, by the way, because
Yeah.
this is where I can speak from experience.
to do
Because
that
guess
one.
what? My daughter's a baby.
I know.
And her thing just this yesterday, whatever. Diddy, I will remind you that school fees are due tomorrow. Well, not due tomorrow, but
I have to be
tomorrow. So
13.
it's anyway, and particularly in the medical field.
Yes.
And so, Mr. Premier, he listens quite a bit, by the
Oh,
way.
yeah, it's probably that.
Um,
That's Miss Russell.
If they could put in place a student loan program, and it would have to be a government program,
Yeah.
whereby it's not going to be this crazy interest rate. But
Yeah.
I take the point because I know from before that many of us get student loans, and when we get to our jobs, we are irresponsible and we don't think about legacy, and so we are very selfish. I'm not paying it back. And many persons who became,
Big shots.
lawyers, accountants,
That's
whatever it may be, right?
They did.
Even some doctors,
Yeah.
and they did not pay the money back, and so
Mhm.
government decided could not carry it on. So,
Yeah.
but
I think that now that the
Yes,
UK has been paying all that money, and
well, there's money.
The 200.
And so, sorry.
200 year.
I'm gonna take this call, right, and then come back to some fun stuff in terms of cut matches this week. Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Let's talk about cut match a minute. I'll say this real quick too, by the way, about this bike stuff, because those that know me, they do know that I try my best not to ride a bike. And the reason is, when I'm on a bike, I am invincible. Period. I'm invincible. As old as I am invincible.
Goodness.
And so I understand this whole mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I have this thing, if you riding a bike and you're a female, you're not going faster than me, no matter what. Crazy stuff.
See?
And the police commissioner said today, though, which I experienced this. I do have a bike, my daughter's bike, and then I ride sometimes. And literally, I went to St. George's on Wednesday, or Tuesday, it was Wednesday. The roads are completely smooth.
Oh yeah.
Completely
Cut
smooth.
Gotta be careful.
And so what happens is, and
That's
he said that,
right.
is that unfortunately now the roads themselves is almost like it's a temptation.
Yes, because you're
And so we have to be practical, have to be realistic, right? And we have to make a decision. It's a decision you have to
That's
make
right.
in terms of, I will not go fast, I will go slow, and especially being mindful of others. And so I'm saying to everybody, yes, St. George's, the roads
Please.
are smooth. Cop match is crazy now, and all that kind of stuff. And so that has to be careful.
Please.
So now, cop match. You have your own collars on.
No,
You have no collars on.
She's Somerset.
No, she has no collars on. She's fine. No, she's neutral, sitting on the
Nah,
fence.
she's
Totally
Sitting on
Somerset.
the fence.
No fence.
And so the teams have been announced, and you said you're a sporting family. I know that,
Yes.
right? You're a sporting family.
Yes.
So what happens for you cop match time? You go down and game, cook all this food up, and
No,
be crazy, or what's happening?
Well, some friends and I, we have a camp.
Yeah.
So we've been doing it probably more than 10 years.
Right.
No, I like sandwiches. I keep it simple because I don't want to see a whole food because I don't want to have to pack it up. So we keep it rather simple.
Okay.
And actually, I am so into cricket, I don't even eat much. I'll have water.
So you watch the game properly?
I watch the game properly.
Gotcha.
Completely. 2 days.
Uh-huh.
That's why I said with Mom, I had a whole schedule. It was sorted. Didn't have to worry about who's going to be with Mom during the pop match. I usually leave him about 7:30, and I'm going until the end of the day's play and later. I
So-
love cricket.
So even my sister, you actually, so you took care of yourself.
Yes,
So you recognize that for
definitely
you. Okay, listen, I'm going to take some
Yeah.
time out. There's nothing. Don't feel guilty
Yeah.
about it. It is what
because
it
I
is.
couldn't watch cricket as much as I used to.
Right.
Because I used to go, if I was going to a game, I used to watch cricket on Sundays,
Mhm.
Stars, right? So, but that was way back in the day.
Right.
So when Mom gets sick, I'm like, can't church cricket, can't watch cricket as much. So cop match,
Uh-huh.
I made sure that the schedule was done. Holidays,
Right.
May 24th, Mom used to be, on Front Street. Now it's me
Uh-huh.
taking over that part, and we would always have a caregiver and the family. We kicked in
Uh-huh.
because holiday rates with
Yes.
caregiving
Uh-huh.
is astronomical.
Gotcha.
We needed family.
Okay.
And then I have relationships with caregivers. Like I would go on the government website, send emails out to caregivers to see who I could hire,
Uh-huh.
and then I would interview people. And then I would be like, okay, I like that person, and I would use them on holidays and pay them more than anybody else would pay them. So I wouldn't have to use the services because $80 an hour and up. Imagine I'm at Copnash from 8 a.m. I
Right.
need at least 5 hours. So you're talking 400 maybe a
Yeah.
day just for caregiving.
And I know. Well, let's go
So-
back because I shouldn't have mentioned this earlier
Yeah.
in terms of the costing because you mentioned to me a few times separately
Yeah.
about this, right? Around
Yeah.
the cost of
Caregiving
caregiving,
is-
and others have commented about the fact that there are many agencies now that provide caregiving service,
Yeah.
and there's some pros and cons of doing that.
Yeah.
So talk a
okay.
bit about that.
So if you use what I had to do, I had to have an agency for the daytimes
Why?
because I found that some caregivers weren't showing up. So I'm going to leave the airport
Mhm.
and go home and work from home.
And just not tell you, just
They will call, but you're calling me. I'm already at work. What
Right.
do you mean you're not going to show up to cover the next shift?
okay.
So I found that was happening, and it happens with the agencies too.
Yeah.
Right. So they're not perfect, but at least I was working with more than one agency.
Mhm.
And we are the type of family that's getting their money on time, so they're gonna try to provide you the best service,
Uh-huh.
right? So where it gets complicated is when they can't find somebody, right?
Okay.
So that happens. So what I used to do, so I'm talking to these young ladies, and I'm like, why y'all ain't working for yourselves?
Correct.
What's going on? Well, the problem is they don't understand the business side of it, how to
Mhm.
get clientele, how to make sure you pay your insurance, and what the agencies do, some of them, and
Mhm.
this is the truth, they give them a certain amount of hours so they don't have to cover your insurance.
Less than 15, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had that conversation with the premier because
Mhm.
we have to regulate this more.
Okay.
Because what's happening is it's almost taking advantage of them too.
Yeah.
Right? And some of them are really good caregivers. But of course, I only need you 3 hours a day. They don't want the 3-hour client. They want the 5+ hour client because they need to feed their families as well.
Yeah.
Right? So there are all these little pieces that roll together, but it's definitely not regulated enough.
Mhm.
And I can tell you, they start at pretty much 38, probably 40 now. It's probably going up because the minimum wage is going up again.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's probably $40 an hour on a regular day, then it's double time on holidays. Can you
Mhm.
imagine if you don't have a plan? How are you going to pay that? Right?
So really shout out to all those that are
yes,
caregivers, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
We had some
And that I'm finding
fabulous
now to
caregivers.
what's the swim at Logic.pm?
Swim at Logic.pm.
All those things come to you. You pass it on to your big sister, who is now your little sister, but your big sister, Valerie. And there you go. Bam.
Just
This is
a job.
opportunity.
We know that.
Yeah.
But you have to
No, it is what it
don't
is.
worry, we know.
I got you.
We figured this out a while back that there's so many things we could do.
Mm.
Even when we were talking about the celebration of life, my sister did a beautiful book
Mhm.
on our mom. It was beautiful. We like, girl, we should be in business. All these things. So there are so many opportunities in Bermuda.
Okay.
People just need to find what your niche is,
Yes.
and go for it. There's always a service required, right? So I'm talking to these girls, and I'm like, I just thought today I need to be checking on them.
Yeah.
Right? Still got that relationship,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I built relationships with these young ladies. I looked out for them. The children, how's your children? Do you want to go to Sunday school? This is what I did. You need, you can. My house is your house. I can't believe we probably had the best houses because I'm like, you could do whatever. Just don't touch my dishes. I like to do my own dishes. Don't wash no clothes. I like to do my own laundry because this is what they offer. But our whole thing was take care of our mom.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't touch nothing in my house. I deal with it when I get home. Your job is to take care of our mom. Keep her company. Keep her clean. Keep her beautiful. And for the most part, we had some wonderful caregivers. We truly did. God blessed us because there were times where we were like, we need another one. Things happen, right?
Yes,
we were like, oh man, another one bites the dust. For various reasons. But God always provided the right person at the right time. Because one of my most favorites, she went back home to Jamaica. I was like, what? You're leaving me? And she was like, yeah, I'm going home. And I understood why she was going home. Health care.
Yes. And that's I guess a summary comment for me is that there's a lot of conversation around healthcare, right? And again, there are pros and cons, and for me, it's to be constructive. Even the Scott Perman was in the paper today, sometime of mine, in terms of giving back to the healthcare system because he is one of the most responsible in terms of being in charge of the hospital, which has its issues, no question about that. But it's still at the end of the day to recognize that there are people that provide services. And I always want one thing I would like to do, somebody give me a minibus, right? And that's what I would do. At about 8 o'clock in the night, in the evening time, in the morning, I would drive a minibus, one east and one west, and pick up all the healthcare workers. Because you see them at the bus stop.
Oh, yeah.
Does scrubs and stuff. And yes, not everybody has a bike or a car, but that's what we need to do, or give them a ride. Well, that's a different issue. So anyway, my point there is that we need to do more in a constructive way around healthcare. And to be honest, that was one of those things that struck me about you in terms of when you tell me you're taking care of mother, and then you ask questions about the rates paid to caregivers, and then others I know have to decide. You cannot just do it. You got to be qualified to do it through your college. So it's not just anybody can do it, and therefore they themselves be mindful because you have to take care of yourself. You know how to lift the people. You got to take time.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. So it's not just easy.
We taught ourselves. I taught myself how to take care of my mom and stuff like that. It's a lot. So I'm not doing that as a career. That's it. My mom was one and done. But it is a lot.
But you can provide information, advice in that regard.
Absolutely. I tell them all the time, you need me, call me. You can talk money, finances, how to manage your money. I'm there for you. I have told all of them that. I've told them, band yourselves together, create a group, become your own business.
Yes.
Right? Stop allowing other people dictate what your life's going to be like. I've tried. I still try because, like I said, I'm still, reaching out to some of them and ensuring that stay on your path because you don't have to be qualified in certain levels, right? But I'm encouraging them all, go up to college. My granddaughter done it. Take a night course.
Yes.
Put aside the party, educate yourself, and you will see the difference, the benefits, that you'll feel so much better just having a piece of paper, right? It just makes you feel like, hey, I done it. So I've encouraged them, and like I said, I stay in contact, and I'm hoping that it is regulated a little better, right? Because we need to think about the fact that when somebody goes in the hospital and they're told, okay, you can't come out unless you got 24-hour caregiving. No, remember, every rest home in Bermuda is full with a waiting list. And the biggest problem I have right now, and I guess the premier is on vacation, so I can't have it to the next meeting in September. I know. But why would we need to assess somebody for your resting? Like, I just don't get that. I don't get that theory. Like, oh, I'm sorry, your dementia's too bad. I don't want you. Next. Or I'll be assessing them and saying that that family is going to need financial assistance. I don't want that. I want the cash. Right?
But one of the things that came up quite a bit, that most of the senior care places cannot deal with dementia.
Right.
They need a different skill set altogether.
Okay, say Nana doesn't even have that. She just can't walk, and she needs to be in a restaurant. How come she can't come? Is it because Nana's going to need her check subsidized by financial assistance? And you just want that person that has the money tree, guaranteed cash. You don't have to wait 6 weeks for government. There's something's going on there, right? And I know it because I know it happened recently. So I have a problem with that, right? Because not everybody is like us and can keep mom at home,
Yes.
right? So what happens then? That mom gets to stay in the hospital because the one place that Headspace said no.
Understood.
That's
Okay.
not right. That's. I love our seniors. I
Uh-huh.
love seniors. I always have. I love older people. I've always gravitated towards older people, maybe from watching cricket. You know, it's a very patient sport. It used to be open cricket, right? So maybe that's why I always gravitated to a lot of older people because you
Okay.
just sit still to watch cricket.
Wow.
So I have a problem with saying we're taking care of them financially on one hand, but what about those that really don't need the financial piece? We need extended care is full.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Okay, what do? And then when I got our young people not coming back because we didn't want to help them, that
Ties
is a
in, yes,
key
yes.
that ties in together. If you bring your young people in, it'll be plenty of money to take care of your seniors.
Wow.
That's the key. Our younger people are the key. What is sandwich? We're already working, right? We're already doing what we have to do, but we're going to have brain drain if we don't bring these children home. I better get, nobody's going to speak English.
Correct, and that's that's not their fault. That's our fault.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly. So now we need to fix it. So if we can fix everything else, we surely can fix the education component that encourages our children to come back to Bermuda.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So, as always, we go really past our time. But thanks, Brother Ben, for that. Any closing comments?
You didn't ask me what I'm doing for COPMED.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was tied together.
No,
Sorry.
you-
Okay. Okay.
Remember, we're different.
Yes, and I apologize. Yes, you are right. Yes, you're the shy one.
I will be in front of my computer editing.
Editing a sermon, a church sermon?
Probably
But
my
no,
footage from Kenya.
but no cricket at all.
It's just going to watch it.
I'll listen to it.
Okay, right. Okay, fine. But
And then, the second day I'll watch it,
Mhm.
the end of it, because you want to see the victory.
Gotcha.
But I'll be listening to it.
But that's
Okay.
victory.
Yeah.
anyway, I'll come back anyway. The cricket game for me, like you, if I go, I want to watch the game.
That's
I want to, and hopefully I can get what I want in terms of being able to watch the game the whole time. But for me, the cricket has actually, the standard has fallen, and a lot of that's because of personal discipline.
Yeah.
And so
Definitely.
St. George's supporter for sure all the way through, but it's really about that whole sense of discipline, and it's not about just like in the past month or two. It should have been, and I know, thankfully, I know Sinclair, the St. George's captain, and he didn't have influence all this time, but it's really to start, even like say, start next week, have an idea of your team for next year, and get them be serious
Yeah.
about
No, we,
it.
Discipline.
That's what it
discipline,
needs,
but you know what? When we took open cricket out,
Mhm.
the West Indies just proved why
Yes.
open cricket is so important.
Gotcha.
How do you survive 2 days in the heat if you're only playing 50-50,
Yeah.
20-20? It doesn't work. Open cricket made a difference. It
Mhm.
taught you patience.
Gotcha.
Okay? Patience is key all throughout life. You get distracted
Uh-huh.
with the shorter version of games, right? Your focus is not there.
Mhm.
And, as cricket, you just have to put some things back in place. The little ones, we don't have it in the schools.
Mhm.
It's so much stuff that would.
Shout out to Cleveland though, because Cleveland are trying to actually extend the junior
Good.
cricket because
Wonderful.
they have a huge support base for the junior cricketers, and now they're trying to extend it.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
We start taking sports out of
Yeah.
schools and making these children lazy. What
Uh-huh.
have we done?
Gotcha. Okay.
So absolutely, I wish everybody a wonderful, safe cup match.
Yeah.
Please take your time on the roads. No drinking and driving. Try not to drink at all. But
Mhm.
okay. Just be mindful of the other person,
Yes.
right? And what families go through if something goes wrong.
Especially if,
And
like I said,
understand why we have this holiday.
Mhm.
It's not to drink. It's
Yeah.
for families to celebrate emancipation, even though it weren't really, but it happened eventually, so they say. That's the way Russell did.
yes.
So it's to celebrate the fact that you are able to work, you
Yeah.
are able to contribute to society and to become someone. Be who you should be. And first and foremost, put God in your life, and everything else will fall into place.
Mhm.
Gotcha. And I'll say this too. It's been very refreshing to have both of you. I'll say this also, that when the invitation went out to you in the first instance, right, to Allisson, and they said, just this week I'm bringing my sister. I'm like, okay, man, how is this going to work? Because based upon the public persona,
Mhm.
you are the voice, and she is not necessarily. She's firm, but not in that sense. But it's been really, really, really amazing, right? That the conversation, the commentary, all of it, and if you go back and look at it, you'll see it also, it's been amazing in terms of, it's been like say 75% you and 25% you. And that is definitely not what I anticipated. And it's not a criticism or anything to correct. It's
Exactly.
actually,
It
but it's a reality that you said earlier, right? That
Yeah.
there is a shy Reverend Seaman.
Yep.
And just wow. I don't know what else to say except wow. Just to see the reality of this, and now I hope the listening audience also will have a different appreciation for you, the preacher, versus you, the multifaceted
Yeah.
person, right? And even age-wise, right? The ability or the understanding that you may be younger, but there is a way whereby you take the lead, or I won't say dominant, but you take the lead, and I say wow, yeah. So no, but even because you, Allisson, the commentator or just the person, there's even more behind the words, at least for me today, to see, like, wow. and so it's interesting, right, to find like everybody now is to do more and stop assuming that we know people,
Yes.
because we don't.
That's-
And having a conversation, like you said, right, and
Yeah,
to open to different things.
And just to add to that, because of what you have seen and experienced tonight,
Mhm.
to say 10 years ago, have people, I hate that woman, she's the worst woman. I'm like, oh my God, because that's not who I am.
Gotcha.
But the passion when it comes to, as I said, things of God,
Yes.
I will stand flat-footed
Yes.
with anyone.
Gotcha.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 toes down.
Gotcha.
Outside of that, I'm just on my own, and Allison's keeping me informed.
And even the face to face, you would be surprised at how your facial expression changes when you say that. It's almost, to me, like it is almost a validation. Your facial expression is a validation of the shy you, and even how you defer, like, physically to her, to Allisson. Like, anyway, I'm saying these like the words are just not there. To Bermuda, I want to thank you very much for joining us here again on Magic 102.7 on your Sunday evening. I really, really, really want to encourage everyone to have a safe holiday. You made the point about drinking. I think drinking is crazy. However, if you make that choice, be responsible before that, and make sure someone else is going to drive on your behalf. To the young man, and I say to myself also, if you're riding, guess what? You got a passenger. It's not just your life; it's someone else's life.
That's right.
Get an accident on a bike. Guess what? The passenger is going to more likely get hurt first, or more than you. And I cannot imagine being responsible for killing somebody's daughter,
Exactly.
and for irresponsible.
That's
Same thing. People come zoom down the road, overtake, and guess what? You go down the road a little farther, they'll stop.
Stay right
So
there.
I'm not going anywhere. And also having said all that from my own experience is that riding the bikes on Copmatch, it is going to be an excitement. So going down and leaving Copmatch, all that kind of stuff. But if possible, just don't ride. You know what I mean? Please. And to the police officers, obviously, they have a very difficult job to do. And there are many of us that will have the benefit of the quality because you got to work, depending on what industry you're in, right? And so we do shout out to all of those persons, all that you do.
tourism.
Tourism, the hotel, the prison service, police service, all this fire service, everyone's going to be available. And so I'll just say again, thank you, and everyone, please be safe and really enjoy the cup match. Yes, as a St. George reporter, supporter, be good for them to me. But to be honest, even beyond that, right? What I want to see this time around is a competitive game. That's what I want. Seriously, that at least to the batsmen, you've been chosen now, but go in, put your head down. It's not about bam, you're out. That's really do our thing. And so to the great Sinclair, I wish him and his team the best.
All right.
St. George's! All right?
Okay.
So thank you guys. Definitely appreciate it. I'd love to see everybody down the holiday, okay?
All right.
Thanks,
God
thanks.
bless.
All righty.
Goodbye.
Got to leave it.
All right, Al. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good stuff.